Another one. Another one. Touchdown Jags! Ball game!
Another Jags podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another Jags podcast, episode 48. We're nearing the 50 mark, but we're not quite there yet. We're going to keep marching with the Jaguars. I'm sure that a lot of people have given up on them, but we have not. Well, maybe we have. I don't know.
So we're still here.
Maybe, we're still here. I think that's what we're talking
We've
about.
purposely given up on them.
We're not just here on the podcast. We're also here on Twitter at Another Jags Pod, Facebook and Instagram at Another Jags Podcast. With us tonight, we have Joey, Jason, myself. The three J's are here tonight. I missed last week, and I just want to apologize to our listeners. This is my first episode that I missed, and I didn't realize the responsibility that I had to our listeners and what I brought to the show. So I'm here, and I'm going to do my best to never miss another one.
I can say Joey and me, it was probably the most fun we've ever had, don't you think?
It was an absolute, and we've got like 8 Twitter questions, like saying how great it was.
Yeah. Oh man, we got so much positive feedback.
When I was listening to it, it reminded me of like a younger sibling whose older sibling is gone, and you finally get to play with the toy that you're never allowed to. Like Joey's like, I can finally talk, Well, and no one's gonna make fun of what I say.
I will say it was like our big toe was gone. So James, you are the big toe.
I'll take that.
A little off balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I honestly missed it, and I'm happy to be back. But this isn't about us. This is about the Jaguars. We are going to be talking tonight about, look, the season's over. We know we're bad. There's no reason to beat a dead horse on that. So we're going to be talking about who we want to see the Jags draft. Listen, it's never too early, at least in my opinion. I think Jason agrees with me on this.
Absolutely.
It's never too late or too early to talk about the draft. I can talk about the draft in August. So we're going to be doing that tonight, along with who we want the Jaguars to keep on the roster, who we may think goes. But before we live in the future, let's live in the present for just one more minute as we open the show to talk about Doug Marrone, head coach of the Jaguars. Because really, if you're talking about who we want the Jags to draft and keep, a lot of that depends on who the head coach is. And after this latest embarrassing loss to the Washington Redskins on Sunday, a lot of people are wondering, is this the nail in the coffin for Doug Marrone? So I want to ask you guys that. After Sunday's performance, is that it for Marrone in Jacksonville?
Definitely not. You can't fire the guy after last season. You got to give him another year. And at this point, I mean, I think the whole organization may be like, hey, let's make this look respectable, put some guys out there and see what they can do, but we need to lose every game we got going. So it's meaningless at this point. So no, it doesn't matter if we lose or not. I think his job is solidified for one more year. Shad Khan's very patient. I mean, we saw that with Gus. And Marrone did way better than Gus ever did. So I don't think he's gone.
So just to clarify what you just said, you think they're tanking?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I mean those are good points. I mean, you can't fire a coach unless you feel he's totally lost control of the locker room, which, I mean, who knows? There's so much that goes on that we have no clue. It's hard for us to sit here and speculate. We talk about how Carlos Hyde didn't play and Fournette didn't play in the second half, and we can try to speculate that, that means they're moving on. Maybe there was something that happened during the week. Maybe there was a personal thing that happened. Like you never know. It's hard to speculate. But I think that he's not going to fire Marrone. I think Coughlin keeps him for another year. And I mean, Khan is a big picture guy. He's not going to give up after just one bad year filled with all these injuries that we had and things like that. So I think he gets one more shot.
I think Khan also cares about image a lot. I mean, I think that matters to him, his image in the world, his image in the United States. And you don't want to be that team that gets rid of their coach every other year, gets rid of their quarterback every other year. I mean, you don't want to be that. So, I mean, you got to show some consistency. And I think his resume deserves one more year.
I agree as well. That absolutely you do not want to be you do not want to be that team that fires your coach every year. I mean, that's just a bad look. No one's going to want to come coach for your team if that's the case anyway, but we do have to remember that last year they were a bad whistle away from the Super Bowl. So you have to give him some credit there. I also think with Joey, I think they are absolutely tanking. If they wanted to win on Sunday against the Redskins, they could have. They could have won that game. They could have put Blake Bortles in, and they could have played Leonard Fournette in the second half instead of giving him just one carry. But they didn't do that. So they might be trying as hard as they can, but just doing that with lesser players, which in the NFL is the definition of tanking. So I think they're just resolved to the fact that they're going to lose out, and they're looking ahead like the rest of us are at who they are going to draft or what quarterback they're going to get. But Marrone, to stay on the topic of Marrone real quick, so we all agree that he's going to stay. He said something in the press conference today, I believe, or it might have been after the game on Sunday, that caught my ear, and it should all of us, about they were asking him, why did Fournette only get one touch in the second half? I mean, one touch in a close game, home game. If you're saying you want to win, obviously it makes no sense to not give him more touches. So he was asked that question, and he said, we wanted to give Dave Williams a look. He said, because really, he said, there's not a lot of separation between them.
Who?
Isn't that his name, Dave Williams? Yeah. Okay.
He's the running back.
The running back.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning you. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard of that guy.
They picked him up off the waiver wire. He's an undrafted free agent from
yes.
Denver.
He's
Gotcha.
been pretty good.
Yeah, and he actually was more productive than
Yeah.
Fournette in the game,
Yeah.
which maybe proves Marrone's point. But what does that say? Is Marrone, as Joey, you like to say all the time, is Marrone being Marrone here, playing a little chess with Fournette or maybe the front office by comparing Dave Williams, an undrafted rookie free agent, to the number 4 overall pick in the draft, Leonard Fournette?
That's a fantastic lead in to my bold statement, probably for the show. Absolutely, he is. He wants Fournette healthy, and the reason being is Fournette's gone next year.
We stopped doing bold statements like months ago.
That's a bold statement, dude. If he's not, I mean,
You're the only one that's done bold statements since we stopped.
I would
whatever.
say normally that's a bold statement, but listen, he's not here. I got to give him credit. Robert's been saying that
He has been.
that they were going to trade him for a while, and
All
we
right,
were
listen.
we were poo-pooing that
Can we call
big time.
let me give you some more color
Okay.
on that and
All
why
right.
I'm saying that.
Yeah, please
Just because
do.
I think the one thing Marrone has been weak on this year is keeping control of his players' actions. I think everything else has been pretty solid on his end. The one way you do that going into the next season is you make a statement. And what better statement than saying, I don't care who you are, I don't care how good you are, I don't care where you were drafted. If you're going to be that guy, which Fournette has been, he's been soft, he's been an issue, he runs his mouth, he doesn't play, get rid of him. That's a big statement.
Do you think that's easier to do if they don't have Caldwell?
I think that's irrelevant at this point.
Okay.
I think if Caldwell is still here, that he's more of a figurehead than Coughlin we thought he was.
I'll say this. I agree. I think that's the writing is on the wall, and we can talk about this more. I believe it's going to happen as well. But my question is, last year, Fournette didn't show up for a team picture, and they suspended him for a game. Why haven't they done that this year? Why haven't they sat him out for an entire the league suspended him for the fight in Buffalo? Marrone should have sat him the next game too. If he's really been a problem, why wait? Let all these things happen and then trade him. To me, it's I don't know. It's a head scratcher. He missed 6 games because of injury. He has been a huge distraction. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe we don't know just to what extent he's a distraction in the locker room. We're not privy to those things, but I wish they had tried a little harder earlier on. But I think you're right. I think we could see him walk.
I mean, I don't necessarily think he's more
Or not walk, but be traded.
Yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily think he is a huge distraction in the locker room, but he's wearing a captain C. He's definitely not a captain on the field, off the field, in any form or fashion. And I really think that after the second hamstring injury where he went out and didn't come back when doctors had cleared him, I think the writing was on the wall at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add the stuff on top of that. I mean, why would you keep him?
Are you done, Joey?
Maybe.
All right, listen. Okay. Do you seriously think they're just going to get rid of their 4th overall pick this offseason from 2 years ago?
Absolutely.
You think they'll just trade them for what? What do you think they'll get? 3rd, 4th, 5th?
I don't think it matters. That's not the point.
So you're going to trade okay, so you still got 2 years left on your number 4 overall pick from 2017, and you're going to trade him for a 3rd round pick. Just because he has been a quote-unquote distraction in the locker room.
Are you going to put up with another year?
He hasn't
did
just
this year?
been a distraction.
What has he done? He's been hurt. That's the problem with him this year. He's been
Okay,
injured. If you want
great.
to make an argument that he's always injured and he's not worth the 4th overall pick, I will give you that. And if you think you can get a healthier person in, but to say he's a distraction in the locker room, he went to defend a teammate on the field. That's a distraction to the locker room.
Yeah, with that nice
Come
little
on,
side head slap.
No, I'm just saying he goes
kicked
out.
of the game.
He goes out to defend Hyde, and it's like, come on, he's not a distraction in the locker room. These are grown men. They're professionals. All right.
He's not a grown man. He's an immature.
He is young
Young adult.
but he's not. Who's he distracting? Like it makes no sense to me. Okay,
Dude, if the best player on your offense can't care enough to go out there and try hard and come back from injury,
not
what does that tell the rest of the
he's
team?
running behind one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen.
Fine.
So that's his fault? That he's
Absolutely.
Not, he's not trying because Josh Wells, Eric Flowers, Tyler Shatley
Here's the thing,
can't
though.
block for him?
Here's the thing, though. We just said Dave Williams had a more productive day than him on Sunday.
When did Dave Williams play? In the second half when we're... I mean, come on. Like,
Dude, Fournette was still playing when our offensive line was somewhat intact. You can't put that on there. And he wouldn't come back from an injury.
I mean, when was our offensive line ever intact?
Dude,
we lost our left tackle.
He's soft, and he can go cry himself
You call
to sleep.
everybody
on his,
soft.
He is.
He
He's
didn't call
soft as
Bortles
heck.
soft.
Bortles is not
you're
soft.
right. You're right. Maybe we should draw that
There's
correlation.
there's no more evidence of that because Jason deleted it. But
Yeah,
soft.
All right, so listen. If
You cannot tell me that he's a hard-nosed
okay,
team guy football player.
why can't he be? He cares more than anybody. He's out there crying after losses. He doesn't. I mean, what do you think? Like he doesn't care? Look,
I don't
You
think
have
he
to
cares.
realize the situation the Jaguars are in. This season's over. Okay, after the Colts road loss, during that game, I wanted the Jags to try to win every game. After that game, that was it for me. I was like, all right, we're in tank mode. We need to start losing, and we need to start maybe preserving some of our athletes. Okay, I was against that initially, but as we've lost more, why play Fournette this year? He could get hurt. Something could happen to him. Why? So if you're a front office and you're like, hey, we're going to play Fournette a half, like a preseason game. We're going to play him a half, and then I want you to play the backup running back. And he goes out there and puts Dave Williams in. What are you going to tell the media? Are you going to tell the media we mailed it in? Don't come to you wasted your money on your ticket. You shouldn't have came because we mailed it in at halftime.
Well, you keep talking about now. Now's irrelevant. I'm
What do you
talking
mean?
about.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about
No, we're not. We're talking about he's soft for the year. 4 or 5 games into the season.
He's only played in like 4.
Exactly. Come back
He's
from your
soft, he
injury,
has a
buddy.
hamstring.
When we still have a good team, a good record.
So,
come back
so
from your
injured
injury.
people are soft. That's what we're coming to.
Him in particular, absolutely.
Well, injured people aren't soft, but when you're cleared to play and you don't, then that's problematic.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
There's
write
a
it
lot
out
of
to the bye.
speculation and stuff and rumors coming out of that I don't know if we.
That's a thing. That's what is so interesting. There are a lot of rumors about this happening. Baselli this morning on 1010 said himself, look, I'm not going to say any names. He's not trying to get himself in trouble. And say what you will about Baselli, but he's more privy to information than we are around there. And he said, look, expect some names to leave this stadium in this city this offseason because of distraction and things like that. Who else is there that's a bigger name than Leonard Fournette that fits that mold?
Well, Jalen Ramsey, but he's going nowhere.
He's not going
Rightfully so.
anywhere.
No, of course not.
And Baselli even said, he's like, look, Ramsey is so productive. He can do whatever he wants because he's so good.
And Ramsey did turn himself around. Like, he stopped.
Yeah.
And still played hard and played good and fought through injuries and still played. He could have easily taken some games off, but he didn't.
That's the thing with Ramsey to me, and we won't, get into this, but Ramsey has his off-field stuff that what you can love it or hate it or not care about at all. But to me, when the game starts, he's locked in. You can't say the same to me, at least, about Fournette. They're two totally different players in my mind. So it wouldn't surprise me. And I hope they get something for him. I don't know who that'll be, but yet again, I hate to say it, but another mark against Caldwell for drafting him 4th overall.
And that's a fantastic point. I mean, okay, Jason, let's say we do keep him because he is a fantastic talent. And he has another year next year like he did this year. He's going to be worthless after that.
So instead of getting a 3rd or 4th, you get nothing.
Exactly.
I would rather keep him in case he plays like he played. We've seen him play.
You could easily get a good
He
running
had
back
2
in the third
games where
round.
he had over 95 yards this year.
I think Marone is
behind
making
one of
a
the worst
point.
offensive lines ever.
Running backs are kind of a dime a dozen.
But it's not like
dude.
we're paying him a lot of money. He's on his rookie contract. So
It's
why
not-
wouldn't you roll the dice with a guy like Leonard over a guy like Dave Williams?
Because you can make a giant point to your team, set the
I don't
mentality for next season, and get rid of somebody who's a distraction.
Besides injuries, which no one can control, what's been the biggest issue with this team that's caused them to be a 4-win team?
I think after injuries, injuries is huge, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I think injuries
Ginormous.
is the leading factor by a lot. But after that, to me, it would be poor offensive line play. Whether due to injury or lack of talent, because it doesn't matter who's back there, quarterback or running back, nothing can happen because of how bad the offensive line is. After that, you may get into quarterback play probably. After that, maybe defense hasn't played as well as we expected. But, I mean, it's just a multitude of things. But it all starts with injuries to me.
I think this front office, and Marone, I'll include him in that, is looking at this team and saying, if we have a healthy Marquise Lee, healthy Cam Robinson, healthy offensive line, we're still not a championship team because of the attitude that is on this team. And I think they need to mature some of these guys, and they could send a message by trading someone like Leonard Fournette. I don't think there's anybody else on the roster that would carry that sort of weight. They're not going to trade a defensive guy because that's their bread and butter right now. But offense, we'll see. You never know. You never know. All I'm saying is if, Robert said this 6 weeks ago and we laughed at him. Now, I don't know. We'll see.
I just don't want the guy on my team, man. I can't root for him. It's impossible for me to root for somebody who has that kind of mentality and that kind of just ethic. I mean, I say soft, call it whatever you want to. Immaturity.
Lazy.
I don't know. Maybe you've always gotten what you wanted, didn't have to deal with anything because you were a stud since you were 9. I mean, whatever. But he's not playing hard. He's not giving it his all. He's not a team player. I can't stand that.
I don't think he's not a team player, but we'll just agree to disagree.
Fair enough.
I think he's just injured.
All the time.
His hamstring isn't a team player.
He's talking about right now he's nursing a foot. What does that mean?
Means his foot's hurt. He's
Yeah,
hard for him
okay,
to
well,
run.
don't even talk about it, dude.
That was on his one run in the second half.
Ice it, tape it up,
Exactly.
and get out there and play.
He was
in a winnable game. It was a winnable game.
Now, I'll tell you something that maybe mean more to me than anything y'all have said. He was returning kickoffs.
That was weird. I didn't
That was
understand
weird.
that at all.
Yeah,
I think that was Marone again saying, "Hey, buddy, get out
that's
there."
more
let's see if
telling
you
of
can get
anything
apart."
because you don't put. I mean, you put like Alvin Kamara will maybe return kickoffs and maybe these explosive guys, but not a guy like
No, that didn't make any sense
that
to
was
me.
weird.
I thought it was pretty awesome.
I don't
would love
know.
to see him,
That to me again goes to one care. They weren't trying to win, and keeping him healthy for a trade.
And what does he do on the one he catches 6 yards in the end zone?
He just took a knee.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you're
was gonna
supposed
say, I
to.
don't think he even caught it. I think he just kind of
Yeah, I thought they all went
He
over his
just kinda
head.
let him bounce.
He just did the horizontal arms.
yeah.
I can do that.
I think you should catch that and take it out.
Tommy
Should
Bowe
try
had
to
a
prove
kick
something.
return in the first kickoff of the game. He returned it pretty well.
Yeah, he did actually. About the
28,
35.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, something
It was
like that.
pretty far.
Yeah,
That was exciting.
yeah, that was.
Special teams was the only thing exciting.
Yeah,
That
that's true.
Dede and
Dede
then Logan
Westbrook.
Cook's ginormous punt. It was a huge play in the game, by the way.
He's
Yeah.
a monster.
Yeah, but that's kind of what we thought he was gonna do all year,
Right.
and he just now did it. Yeah, I did hear that he was top 5 in punts inside the 10, but if you have more volume, then
Right.
it might be easier.
Remember the
That's true.
scrimmage? Like
Yeah,
leading
he's
into the
booming them.
preseason?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like this guy's gonna be.
We
a
said he
thing.
was like the star of the scrimmage.
Man, how optimistic were we then compared to now? But at least we have like next top draft pick to look forward to.
We do.
honestly at this point. Like I'm happy about the season again. Like the weight's lifted because it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I was
I'm-
happy they lost.
Yeah,
I mean,
the,
I
middle,
really
middle-
was.
the middle of the season horrible. The rest of the season, hey, let's see what we got that's out there,
Yeah.
like that you've never seen play.
Right. So, it's optimism abounds for next year. Let me ask you all this. Before we get to the draft, is Nick Foles a viable option at quarterback for us now? They just beat the Rams. We've seen his name come up. Does that win against the Rams elevate his status in your mind at all?
That's a good question. And really, what's funny is that no one was even thinking about Nick Foles until like last week. Like Nick Foles was like, oh, he was good, but now he's a bum kind of guy. Like he got hot at the right time. And he had one good week last week where he got a win. And now it's like, oh, he's reemerging as like a candidate. It's just funny how like weekly it changes like
Right.
that much. But I think it comes down to what the Jags want to do and how they evaluate these quarterbacks that are coming out this year. If they evaluate the quarterbacks coming out, because everybody loves Haskins and Herbert, but they could both stay this year. And now your best quarterbacks coming out are Greer and, the dude from Duke, right? Jones or whatever his name is, Daniel Jones. So we're kind of speculating these guys are going to come out. So even if they do come out, okay, if the Jaguars analyze them and they think that they're the future, then I think you have one. You don't have very many chances to draft the best quarterback in a draft. Like that does not happen very often. If you get the chance, you kind of have to take it. Especially if you need one. If they evaluate these guys as not being good enough to lead a team for the future, I think you could see them get a skill position or an offensive lineman and then pick up a guy like Nick Foles. But I think a lot's going to tell on how they're evaluating him in the film. But in my opinion, I wouldn't be comfortable with Nick Foles as a starter of a team as quarterback for us.
I would like to see them get Foles and draft a quarterback with their first overall
Yeah, they could
pick.
do that. But I don't know. Foles may demand some money, though.
He may, but I think we're gonna I think our financial situation is better than a lot of people think. In terms, especially if they, cut some players, which they already have. I mean, we didn't even talk about Barry Church got released. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
As well as Niles Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, was he hurt? Was he on the IR?
Yeah,
I think he was on the IR and they
he's
took
always
him off.
hurt. He's literally always hurt.
Yeah, that freed up like $28.
Yeah, something like 20, 50. But hey, all that adds up,
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. That would be my thing. If you're really serious about contending next year, then sell out at the quarterback. Get someone like Nick Foles or someone else and draft a quarterback. Because obviously Kessler is not the answer. Sorry, Jason.
No, it's okay. I would like to point out that the offensive line is pretty bad.
They are very
bad. And I
bad.
don't think Cody Kessler's gotten a fair chance because of what he's had around him. He's probably had a better team in Cleveland. I mean, third stringers everywhere for him here. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's true. I just feel like, if Foles would have came out last year after the Super Bowl win, he'd been like a middle tier to upper tier paid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't think he drops too much. He does, but I think he was exposed a little bit for his talent, but I don't know. If he turns it on clutch at the end of the year.
Again?
Exactly. Because that's when it matters.
Yeah.
He pretty much did, though. I mean,
He's had one good game, though. Let's chill.
Against the best team, or one of the top two teams in the NFC.
That was a big win. I mean,
So he's shown that he can play up sometimes. Is that what you want?
At this point, I think Foles would be ideal for us to take. It might take a little bit to get him, but probably not as much as Bortles would make if we kept him. On top of that, we draft a quarterback. Absolutely we do. Bring him in, let him play underneath Foles. If Foles doesn't do great because our line sucks and we haven't got all the components that year, whatever. That guy learns under a good quarterback. We got somebody way better than what we got right now. And then a second draft later, we fix the rest of the spots and we've got something happening. I think that's the perfect opportunity. But I don't think Philly's letting go of him. There's no way.
I don't know if Philly will be able to pay him because they have Wentz.
Then we absolutely go after him. It'd be stupid not to.
I was the first to say that I thought Foles was more of a flash in the pan, had a good run, kind of like Bortles did last year, except he took it further and won the Super Bowl. But when you come back on a week's notice and beat, one of the top two teams in the NFC, that's pretty telling.
But not even that, Philly was on kind of a downslide. I mean, they weren't playing fantastic, and he came in and really sparked the entire team. That says a lot to me.
It's a week-to-week league, though. I mean, there's games where Josh Allen has blown up for the Bills, but he's not good. Like, you can have a random good week, and I know he won the Super Bowl, so that helps, but this whole year he's played pretty bad. And then at the beginning of the season when he was playing, he was pretty poor. And I think someone's going to overpay him, and I don't want to be the team that does it, is my problem. Could I see him in that situation? Yeah. Yeah,
that's the problem with free agency, though, is you're always going to overpay.
Yeah, but do you want to be one? I don't know.
So, do you roll into next season with Kessler and draft somebody?
No, you can't roll with Kessler.
Okay, so, I mean,
you have a better chance with Bortles than you do Kessler, realistically.
So you think Bortles stays?
No, I didn't say that either. That's my question is, how far is the gap between Foles, Derek Carr, and Bortles? Like, where are they from each other,
I don't think none of them are franchise
Is Bortles
QBs.
the worst of the three?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where would you put Derek Carr? A little worse than Foles? A little better?
I'd say a little better.
I'd say it's almost a push.
That's what I would think, too. So,
But I don't think any of them are top 10 quarterbacks.
No. The problem with if you bring Foles in and draft a quarterback is Foles is going to want, what is he going to want, a 5-year deal probably?
that's the thing. I don't know. I think after this year, he may only be able to get a 3, but he's still going to probably get a 3 somewhere. And I don't want to give someone a 3-year, $40 million contract. But not another quarterback.
The only quarterback out there that'll be available that'll probably get less than that is like a Teddy Bridgewater, who you just don't know about health.
Yeah.
So he has to prove it.
Well,
Derek Carr, that's the thing. What's Derek Carr? It's tough to know. Like, what's Derek Carr?
Flacco's coming out. That's almost guaranteed. And they've said that they'll told him to pick his 5 teams he wants to go to, and they'll make sure he goes to one of the 5 teams. I don't know if I want Flacco.
I think he's worse. I'd rather have Bortles than Flacco.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends. To me, it comes down to price. Whoever's cheaper.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I love though? I will say this about Bortles. When Dede returned that touchdown, he was over there celebrating with him like crazy.
Because
I love Bortles.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Man, I wish he was good.
I know. I know.
Kills me.
I know.
Because he's awesome.
Yeah.
What about Winston? There's a possibility Tampa gets rid of him.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
Yeah.
Not based on where they're on the draft. I think they wait another year to see if they can get closer to the top pick.
Well,
You
they're
know,
they're going to get rid of their coach, though. That's almost a guarantee. And a new coach coming in might not want. He might want his guy or to build towards his guy.
It's possible.
Would you want Jameis?
Again, it depends. That could be a prove it deal too. I would take Jameis for a year.
I think he's an upgrade for a year or two, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And we still draft. I think that is our best opportunity.
I mean, he is. Say what you want about this, but he's a Florida State guy with Ramsey and Telvin. I mean, there's something to say about that. They won a national championship together.
All right.
You know,
So let me get this straight, Joey.
He would definitely need to fix his
Joey,
off the field
no.
issues, Jason.
Let me
I
get
agree.
this
I'm
straight.
just throwing it out there to play devil's advocate.
Okay. You think we should get rid of Fournette because of his distractions in the locker room. Yet here we are 10 minutes later, and Jameis Winston is an upgrade from Bortles.
I'm saying that we need to bring in a quarterback that's better than what we got for a couple-year deal and draft a quarterback for that guy to London.
But running back, no, not with running back.
No,
just-
running back,
just
you can get
quarterback.
anybody to run if you got a
So-
line.
So you can be a distraction in the locker room as long as you throw the ball.
I didn't say Jameis was the answer. I asked you guys if you thought we should have Jameis.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm just throwing out the
it
available
does seem to be a
quarterbacks.
little contradictory.
The available
It does
quarterbacks
seem
I'm putting
like
out there.
your morals aren't aligned with every position.
I'm just saying who's available or possibly available.
Would you take him?
I don't know.
Here's the thing I will say that differentiates, again, someone like Fournette and Winston. When Winston is in the game, he's at least in the game. Where I feel like that what bothers me about Fournette is that he's not. When he's playing and suited up, it's like he's only playing halfway sometimes. So they're kind of the same off-field wise, but I think you would get more of an effort out of someone like Jameis versus Fournette, if that makes any sense.
And again,
No, I'm not saying we bring him in.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying our options are pretty limited as far as like who we could get.
I wouldn't want Winston.
Okay,
I
good
wouldn't
answer.
want him.
I think Foles is the best fit that we would have a shot at, and I'd be good with that.
My problem with him is he's going to want more than a 2-year deal, which is really
Well, you do it like
what
all
we want,
contracts.
especially if you're trying to draft a quarterback, which I really hope we are. We get better.
It's not very often that a team gets a good free agent quarterback and then drafts a quarterback with their first pick. Like, doesn't happen very often. Like, we want the best of both worlds here, but in reality, we're probably going to have to take
Maybe
a
it
quarterback.
should, though. Don't you think the Broncos would be better off right now if they had done that?
If they drafted a quarterback as well?
Yes.
As had Keenum?
Yes. I mean, because remember,
Maybe.
they drafted 5th overall.
I mean, we could say that now, but Bradley Chubb's played really well this year.
He has.
I mean, that's
he's
a
played
guy-
great, but look where they're at.
But is it worth it to wait?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they could have done that.
You're
They
right.
chose not
But
to.
It doesn't usually work out when teams do that.
I think we draft a quarterback every year in the draft from now until 20 years from now.
But we're not talking about
until we
drafting.
have
We're talking about
solid-
drafting a quarterback with the 5th overall pick.
I agree.
Let me ask you this.
care where our pick is.
Here's
We
a
should take
crazy
a quarterback.
hypothetical since we're talking about it. Let's say the Jags draft Haskins with their 5th pick, or they trade up or whatever, but they get him 1st overall, and the second round comes, and Will Grier is still on the board.
Take him.
Do you say take him?
Absolutely.
No.
If they don't get a free agent quarterback, I would say take him too.
No.
Dude, that's all we should do.
No.
Next year's going to be crap anyway.
Why not?
I mean, why not?
You need to get other positions filled. Like, the reason why teams don't do that is because you don't have very many chances at good draft picks, and if you get one, you want to waste it. And drafting another quarterback would be wasting.
I'm
You
pretty
may not
sure-
even be.
Well, they never would, because what that would then say is we liked him, but we don't really like him, so
Yeah.
we're going to get another one.
And what are you gonna do? Give Will Grier second team reps and then try to evaluate them against each other? Like, it's hard to do. It's why teams don't do it, because it's hard to do.
If it was all the Jags needed,
It's not though.
but it's not even close.
We got huge offensive line issues. I would like to see us take a left tackle and move Cam over, or take a tackle that's going to play maybe in the draft, and then maybe a guard as well, a
Tight end.
receiver, a tight end. There's so much we need that there's no way we couldn't waste a pick like that. I mean, you could get good value in the 2nd round. Now, 3rd round, you may be able to convince me.
Mhm.
4th round, you could, but not in the 1st and 2nd. That's especially where we're picking. Maybe if you trade down, accumulate picks. I mean, this is hypothetical, I know,
Right.
but that would be a tough sell for me.
So who do you want them to draft with their 1st pick, Jason?
I haven't watched enough of the quarterbacks to say yet. I will, though.
Okay.
I will. I'm leaning right now toward Haskins, but again, I'm like very early in my film review process. by looking at straight stats, and if you look at stats and next level analytics and everything has them ranked like Kyler Murray 1, Tua 2, then you get into Haskins, then you get into guys like Greer and Herbert and Jones and guys like that. So that's the only thing that I've looked at, but Herbert has played good against some good defenses. So that's always promising to me, but get back with me in a couple weeks after I've watched some more film on those guys.
And for the common listener, Kyler Murray nor Tua is going to be available next year. Tua can't come out.
Correct.
Kyler's playing baseball. So.
Yeah, so the top 2 guys won't be available until next year's draft. If there's rumors about Kyler playing football, but
that would be stupid.
Yeah, he would be no way you make that call.
All right, do we want to get into any Twitter questions?
I think we should.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Jason, I'm handing it off to you.
All right, so this first question is from Josh, and he's at Vault Dweller 101, and he asks, any reason why Khan shouldn't just clear the deck right now? Season is done anyway. Just dump Doug, Dave, Tom, and everyone else. Let Tony run it a couple weeks, because why the hell not, and get new leaders in ASAP.
I think that's a bit reactionary, personally. I mean, you don't go from the season we had last season to the season we had this season and dump everybody. I mean, there's definitely problems, but Khan's not that kind of guy either. I mean, he's going to let guys stay. I think he does make some cuts, but not that severe.
Khan isn't an owner that's sitting in the end zone seats with his face painted. You know what I mean? Like, he's a bottom line guy. He's a business guy. So what is driving us crazy as Jags fans is not driving him crazy as Jags owner. So we have to remember that. So no, he's not going to do that at all. He could give his son some more authority. I mean, I don't know. But like Joey said, no, that's not going to happen.
I mean, again, like James made a great point, because we're way more passionate about the Jags than Khan is, as far as what the product on the field is. I mean, yeah, he wants to put forth a good look and he wants to make money, but I mean, whether we sell at the stadium next year or not, I think they put the numbers out last week. He's going to get an extra $200 million on the TV contract.
Not to mention what's going on in Parking Lot J.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Everything else outside of it, extra $200 million, regardless of how good the team is.
Yeah. So that's a good year.
Yeah. That's just extra.
I mean,
like
I'm assuming.
$200 million?
Right.
Nah, that's nothing.
It's weak.
Yeah. I said that's on top of. Like, that's just like, hey.
That's soft like Fournette.
Here's a little something for the effort.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I mean, would it surprise me if everyone but Tom's gone? No, but I don't think he fires Tom Coughlin. I think he hired Tom Coughlin to basically not have to worry about it, and he can be like, look, it's not me, it's Tom Coughlin. He's going to give him probably 5-10 years to do whatever he wants to do, would be my guess. This next question is from Vince Colosimo, and he's at
Colissimo.
Yeah, Vint, thank you.
Way cooler when you say it that way.
I know. We have our cultured person in here. Sorry.
I ran a marathon. That's my segue.
That was so forced.
Yeah. I took my shot.
I was trying to figure out a way to work it in. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
took my shot.
All right, it's from Vince Colissimo, and he's at Bob's. I don't know. Bob's something. I can't read. Something came in junior. He says, which current starting quarterback in the league do you think is the most realistic trade option at season end?
I mean, Derek Carr. It has to be. He might be he said starting quarterback?
Who's the most realistic? Yeah.
Starting quarterback is Derek Carr. I don't think any other. Well, maybe Jameis. We mentioned him earlier.
What about Stafford? I mean, has he disappeared at this point? I haven't heard any talk about it. I mean, that was like the hot button like 2 weeks ago, but now it's like not an option. I don't get that, but
You'd have to give something up for him, I think.
You would, and he's so expensive. His contract is huge.
it's not more than cars at this point,
I think it is.
is it?
Don't quote me on it, but I
Yeah,
think
well,
it is.
either way-
When he signed his contract, he was the highest paid player in the league.
If it's close, I'd rather have Carr. But
Yeah.
all right,
I think it's more possible with Carr too because of the position that the Raiders are in with the draft and with a new head coach who's also the acting GM. I think if not, he really is. So they might want to go quarterback and have Gruden have his own guy. So to me, Derek Carr and the Oakland Raiders are the tipping point in this upcoming draft. I mean, if they keep Carr, who knows where they go, or they trade Carr and get a quarterback, or they trade out of their position to acquire more draft picks for someone that could leapfrog the Jags and get a quarterback that the Jags want. So then I mean, there's the Raiders are the one team that I'm rooting for so hard to win out which they're not. I think, I don't remember who they play, but if we can get ahead of them, that would be huge in the draft. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, but it's a huge factor. Huge.
Yeah, I would say maybe to trade, probably a guy like Stafford would have to be. I mean, everyone else that's good is being retained and everyone else is bad is being cut. So as far as trade value, one guy we haven't talked about in the free agency, though, is Tyrod Taylor. Any desire to see Tyrod Taylor?
That's why I haven't talked about him. No.
Actually, there's another one that I can't believe, at least I don't think we've talked about him yet, is Eli Manning.
Will he be a free agent next year?
No, but they could trade for him.
They could trade for him.
He's a starter.
Ooh,
Tom Coughlin guy.
Super mobile behind our line. I mean,
Absolutely.
Wait, no.
I'm just saying, like, we have not mentioned his name once, and it's pretty interesting that we
I think
haven't.
that's more of the Tyrod Taylor effect. I just don't want him. I'd rather have Tyrod Taylor.
I would rather have Tyrod Taylor than him too.
Well, I mean, I would too, but he would get he would get annihilated here.
Dude, he would be in the hospital.
Who, Taylor or Eli?
Eli.
Both.
Oh, Eli, yeah.
Yeah.
What's Tyrod weigh, like $120?
No, but
Well,
Tyrod's
it's kinda
Ask
cool.
Kessler how
He
that
can
feels.
Tyrod's better than people think, all right? I know he didn't play well against us, but he's not great, but he's better. I mean, he's a free agent, so, but to me, he's the best free agent that's going to be available. After him, it's like Teddy Bridgewater, Brett Hundley, Trevor Siemian, Josh McCown.
Awful.
So to kind of like piggyback off that question, because again, we've talked about it, it's a great question. I would be perfectly happy with Carr. I would be perfectly happy with Foles. I think they'd both be good options. But for Carr, would it be worth giving up Malik, Jackson, Darius, Bortles, those three?
For Derek Carr?
For Derek Carr.
I guess the question is, are Darius and Malik coming back if that trade doesn't happen?
I mean, I think the answer is
that's
no.
true.
Absolutely not. They're
But as far as
definitely-
like clearing the books,
Yeah.
gosh, I don't think so. Not me, no. I think I would rather have Bortles and keep those two guys.
I don't think either one of those are coming back either way, but that's what it's going to take.
Avery Jones has played really well.
He's
And then
hot and cold.
Taven, he had a better
Yeah.
game on Sunday.
He got a sack.
Yeah.
Something finally.
No, he didn't actually. It wasn't credited as a sack.
Really?
Yeah, because he
dang.
was like right at the line of scrimmage or
There you
something.
go. So much potential.
So he hasn't gotten his first sack yet.
Exactly. That's like the difference between him being in people's minds. Like, oh, he hasn't had any sacks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a 1 yard tackle for loss. Like,
Right. You know what I like though after that play? This is off the subject, but I was watching it and he makes that tackle and Telvin's just like pointing at him, like getting him hyped, and he's cool, and then all of a sudden he just yells in Telvin's face and picks him up off the ground and just got super hyped. Like I love seeing that from
Yeah,
him.
it's
So
pretty awesome.
hopefully he's a project. We knew that going in. I'm trying to give the Jaguars the benefit of doubt on that pick. It looks like obviously it was the total wrong move, but you never know what he can do. Grasping at straws here, people.
Look, at the end of the game, who we play?
The Redskins.
The Redskins. The Redskins were running the ball at the end of the game to try to like seal the game, and Nick DeLuca missed a tackle in the gap. The running back spun out. Adrian Peterson spun out and got a first down, and Taven Bryan was like close to the ball. And when they got the first down to win the game, he was the only one that was visibly upset. He like slammed his hand on the ground. He was the only one that cared.
I like that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I do too. He was the only one that cared. I'm telling you, that's what you get out of that guy. You get someone that cares, and I just don't know how much these other guys care. I mean, what did Malik Jackson say the other day? He was like, I probably don't have much of a future in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he knows it. The writing's
So-
on the wall.
Yeah. Darius, though, you may have to restructure, but I think they'll want him back. But who knows?
I'm holding out hope for Brian.
didn't
I'm going to
say-
say it. I think
Yeah,
if
I am too.
with this offseason not training for the combine, but instead training as a defensive lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars, we could see a lot of growth in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I still don't think it was the right pick for where they were at, but he could make a huge improvement and huge steps next year. So hope so, because I think we're all in agreement. We like his attitude on the field, big time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody has ever said he doesn't have good work ethic
Yeah.
and doesn't care. So
But going back to your question, Joey, Malik, Darius, and Bortles for Derek Carr. I don't think I would hate that because I think all three of those guys are going to be gone anyway.
I agree. But then I think all the three of those guys are going to be gone because we're going to try to fill other spots. That's eating up all of the cap room that we've cleared.
Yeah, you could
for
bring in
one
like
guy.
a a receiver in free agency. There's a lot of good receivers coming out in free agency this year.
Are there? I didn't think there were any.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Stephen Diggs, Brandon Cooks, Odell Beckham is technically a free
I
agent.
thought Brandon Cooks already got re-upped with the Rams.
Stephon
Did
Diggs
he?
is a stud.
Maybe not.
I don't know. Golden Tate, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean,
It's like
Nah.
come die in
better than the
Jacksonville.
quarterbacks available, you know?
If Larry Fitzgerald leaves Arizona, it's going to be to someone that's contending.
Yeah,
not-
no, he's not leaving.
Anyway, I would be happy with Carr. Would be my answer to my
Stephen
question.
Diggs would be,
Stephon
That'd be
Diggs is
awesome.
yeah, oh yeah.
Are you sure he's a free agent?
Scheduled to be one, yeah.
All right.
Randall Cobb, Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, Matavius Bryant, Jermaine Kearse,
I like Devin Funchess.
Dante Moncrief.
Oh, yeah.
We can get him. Heard he's good.
A lot cheaper than $10 million, hopefully.
Hey, yeah, not happening.
All right, so next question. This is from the Kenny, and he's at KNNTHP3. And he says, has the window with this team closed? He mentions another Jaguars site. We're not going to mention them. Says they think that there's enough left to push next year and not blow the team up. But if you go rookie quarterback, are you not 2 to 3 years away from another run?
No, I don't think so. Look what Baker Mayfield is doing in Cleveland, of all
So they're
places.
far from the playoffs, though.
Not that far. I mean, if New England had beat Pittsburgh, they would be a lot closer. And if they had fired their coach a lot sooner, then they would be a heck of a lot
I think
closer.
they only have like 6 wins, though.
Yeah, but okay, let's look at within our own division. You have Deshaun Watson, second year, hurt last year, and they are leading the league. There just seems to be a faster turnaround with quarterbacks now than there was 5 and 10 years ago when you had to, play 4 years before you knew the system and all that stuff. We saw Sam Darnold's best game the other night. So I think, if they can get the right guys, look, it's a week-to-week league, and to me, it's also a year-to-year league. We were writing off the Texans last year with Watt being injured and Deshaun Watson being a rookie coming back this year, and they went 0-3 to start the season. Now they are looking at a bye and home field advantage as the second seed in the AFC. I mean, after 1 year removed being a sub-500 team. So you just never know. If you can get the right guys, and look how the ball bounced the Jaguars' way last year. If that can happen again next year, you just never know. So I'm not ready to say that they're just going to have a fire sale and be terrible again next year and be a total rebuild. I'm just not ready to say that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. There are a ton of holes that need to be filled, but you just never know.
I definitely don't. Again, we don't need to blow the team up. And no, we won't necessarily be horrible if we have a rookie quarterback next year. I mean, like James said, you look at the guys coming in, the league is set up for quarterbacks and wide receivers, for them to be better, for points to be scored. So it's much easier to come out and start right away and do well. Injuries are going to fill some of our spots. Guys coming back from injuries, I mean. So, yeah, if we can make good calls, which, again, is a huge concern that we don't do all that well with that. But if we do, we make the right decisions, there's absolutely no reason we need to blow it up. Next year could be a great year.
No, I'm with the Kenny here. You don't see rookie quarterbacks make it to the Super Bowl very often. There's a reason why when it happens, it's very rare. Ben Roethlisberger comes to mind. Honestly, before that, I couldn't even tell you. Like,
Well, okay.
it's very, very rare that
So
a rookie
Super
quarterback.
Bowl or bust?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, this guy said that the Kenny asked. He says, "Are we not 2 to 3 years from another run?"
a run.
A run is the playoffs to me, man.
A run is winning our division.
A run is a realistic shot at the Super Bowl.
Look, we can't talk about the Super Bowl. We've never been, ever, as a franchise.
But
So
last year we had a realistic shot at it.
we did.
This year we don't.
Well,
Can we have another realistic shot next year with a rookie quarterback?
Okay, going into last season, did you think we had a shot at the Super Bowl?
No.
Nobody.
We didn't have a rookie quarterback.
Here's
though.
my thing. If you win your division, or let's just say you make the playoffs as a wild card, by that point in time, that rookie that you drafted in April, and it's now January, is not a rookie anymore. He's played
doesn't
a
happen
full
very often.
season. I know it doesn't, but I think now more than the league has changed is what I'm saying. The league has changed. I fully believe if the Cleveland Browns had not waited so long to fire Hugh Jackson, they would be tied at least for the division in the AFC East
North.
AFC North. Sorry, and you can kind of look at other if the Jets are just a few wins away from not competing with the Patriots, but I'm just saying that I think that this league is set up to where it's easier for rookies to come in. The college offenses are more sophisticated. The NFL offenses are looking more like college offenses. So you can come in and have the learning curve is a lot faster now. So I think it is possible, is all I'm saying. Not to necessarily go to the Super Bowl, but go on a run, which to me, again, means getting into the playoffs. Because once you're in the playoffs, look, all we have to do is look at last year to see anything can happen. Anything can happen once you make the playoffs. So I think we need to stop saying Super Bowl all the time and just saying division, wild card, playoffs. Just get to that point and let's see what can happen.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a successful season, and especially when you look at what we just did, what we're surviving this year.
Absolutely.
The Jags win the division next year after going 4-12. That's a successful season, in my opinion.
It's successful, but it's not a run. I mean, you can go 8-8, make the playoffs. It's not a run, and you lose in the first round. That's what the Bills had last year. Was not a run. Okay, they snuck in backdoor to the playoffs, and they lost in the first round by scoring 3 points. There's a difference to me. I see your point. Offenses has changed. I agree, but there's a reason why when it happens, it's like spectacular. That's all I'm saying. But it has changed. Look at the way. I mean, could Mahomes done this last year? Maybe. If he would have started last year, who knows? It's hard.
This is his first year truly starting.
Yeah, and he's only been, 2 years. It's not long. All right, this next question is from Cole Marone, and he's at Cole Guy 45. He says the Jags don't seem to have many options this offseason to improve the offense. He says the draft doesn't have much to offer in terms of offense in the first round. And he asks, take a gamble on Haskins or Herbert over Herbert, trade for Mullins, and draft Little or Williams at offensive tackle. And then he throws in also why is Marone still the coach?
Well, we've addressed why Marone's still the coach. Mullins, we haven't really talked about him as a trade. They did just beat Seattle this weekend, so
he's Bortles to me. In my mind, I have him and Bortles on the same tier.
He can throw the ball, though.
Is he the San Francisco quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
He can throw the ball.
Okay.
You got to give him that.
He's a natural thrower of the football.
Right, he's a natural thrower of the football.
If that's our answer, then we're done. I mean, honestly.
Right. Okay, so what about Haskins or Herbert? What do you think, James?
Who we should get?
Who would you take? Yeah. And then would you gamble on a rookie?
I would only say Haskins because Herbert plays for Oregon, and I don't think I watched a single second of any one of their games this year because I'm not sure they're broadcast on the East Coast.
Probably not.
And I will say this as well. What I've heard said about Haskins has been nothing but incredible. 22 years old, insanely mature. He worked out with Deshaun Watson. And someone who was there asked Watson, what do you think of this guy? And he said he's ready for the NFL. This was before this college football season. He said that. He's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, the dude's a leader. He's got it. He's got what it takes. And I'll trust Deshaun Watson because he has it. So he can see it in other people. So I loved hearing that. He's played on a huge stage. He broke Drew Brees' conference record in touchdown passes, which, is incredible in and of itself. So I like everything about the guy that I've heard and that I've seen. I just can't say anything about Herbert because I don't know anything about him.
I'll say one thing about him. Have you looked at a picture of him?
Herbert?
Yes.
No.
Oh my. No way I want that guy to lead my team.
No, why
I don't
not?
care how he can play football. He looks like he's 13 and in the band.
Justin
I mean, not the band.
I was in the band.
Well, I know, but I wouldn't want you as my quarterback either for the Jags. I mean, come on. You didn't run a marathon. I'll give you that.
Yes,
but,
thank you. Thank you. All is forgiven.
I've heard nothing but good things about Haskins, but like you said, I don't think I've watched an entire Ohio State game all year. I like Greer. I think Greer would fit. Haskins would fit just from what I've heard. Either one of those guys.
I like Greer too. I give Joey a hard time because it's fun to do that, but I like Greer a lot too. I just think I don't think he's a top 5. If they had won on Sunday, they would have dropped back to 9. Then I'd say yeah, get Greer because Haskins would be off the board. Can you imagine? Can you believe that? I mean, if the Jags had won, they would be sitting, I think, at number 9 in the draft. 4 spots they would have dropped. I'd be so furious. That would have annoyed me a lot. Anyway, that's beside the point. But anyway, thought I'd bring it up.
I mean, I still think we get a vet. If we try to upgrade through free agency and quarterback position, maybe take somebody in the first round that fits one of the other spots that we need, and try to get somebody like Greer in the later second round, or maybe trade up for that. I mean, I still think that's the ideal combination: is a better vet and somebody in the draft. I mean, it has to be that way.
Is Greer the guy you want the most?
I think Greer is the best quarterback that I think we have a possibility of getting. if we're not drafting one number one, because I don't necessarily think I don't think you can rely on these guys coming out for one thing. There's no guarantee they're going to, and I think you got to start planning for that before they make that kind of decision. I mean, I know stuff changes all over the place, but I still think we get somebody in free agency is why I'm saying Greer's my favorite pick.
I don't know why Haskins wouldn't come out. What in the world does he have to gain by staying? I mean, especially next year when you got Tua and then all these other quarterbacks, he's going to be changing coaches. He's already set the record. He doesn't have anything to gain.
Why wouldn't you have declared at this point then?
I mean, what's the rush? Get your name out there a little more?
Yeah, absolutely.
His like running back for the team like declared already, and on Instagram he like commented on his post when his running back declared. He was like, "Not one more year," like crying face. And so people were like, "Oh, is Haskins coming back?" And the rumors that Herbert's coming back too. So who knows, man?
There's also very large bags of cash that get dropped off for these kids. I mean,
that's true.
But yeah, I mean, he has nothing to gain by staying for sure. I like Herbert's size, 6'6", 240. He looks young, but he's big, prototypical. Scouts love him for a reason. And then another thing that gives me hesitation about Ohio State quarterbacks is look at how Ohio State's produced quarterback-wise. Guys like J.T. Barrett, Terrell Pryor, who else do they have? There's some Troy Smith. Like they have these guys that light it up in college, and then when they get the pros, they do nothing.
Yeah, Haskins is a totally different quarterback than those guys, though. He's not a running quarterback.
Yeah, but they are different in that sense, but they're not different. They played in like the same offense, and they played in like the spread, open, weak defensive league.
Sounds a lot like the NFL.
Yeah, maybe sometimes, depending on, but, yeah. It gives me hesitation, though.
If we knew for certain that Grier was going to be around in the second round, I'd be tempted to say, yeah, get that left tackle, or get someone else and let's get Grier in the second round. I'd be fine with that, but I just don't think he makes it that long, and I really don't. So that's what makes the draft so fun.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be good. I think they'll take a quarterback because you only get one chance at drafting the best quarterback, and they may not even. The Giants may trade up or end up getting a higher pick. So
with this real quick, do players not playing in their bowl game affect any way you think about them as far as a professional goes?
Not even a little.
Absolutely not.
Bowl games are such a waste.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the bowl
season.
They're
so dumb. I agree.
Well, I didn't say are the bowls dumb. I said a guy who made a commitment to his team not playing in the final game of the season. Does that bother you at all?
No.
Well.
Okay. This question is from Patrick Jackson. He's at Radius Johansson. He says, it's nearly Christmas. The football has been gloom, and we need some cheering up. I'd like to know each of the team's bright spark of hope from this dismal season.
First of all, I just have to keep complimenting PJ on his fantastic questions. I mean, it's like it's
like a poem.
Yeah, it's like he writes Christmas cards or something. That was good. I'll jump on that.
Deeds.
I would say D.D. Westbrook is by far the shining light of the last few games. I mean, again, I have no idea why he didn't get more looks in the start of the season. He plays tough. He's fast. I mean, he was only a good spot. He made a great catch in that game 2 weeks ago. I mean, he's the one thing I'm excited about on offense.
Yeah, I mean, D.D. Westbrook's the obvious one because he's played so well recently. If we look at the whole body of work from the entire season, I think DJ Hayden has really shown himself to be a valuable asset, and hopefully I'm not stealing anybody's here, but Ronnie Harrison has proven that he can take Church's spot.
Who's on the IR, by the way?
Right. Well, at this point, the IR is just...
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's worthless. But, Ronnie Harrison's been real impressive to me, and I was
going to say, they said that he had a interception and a sack in back-to-back games. It's the first time a Jaguars safety has ever done that.
Wow, how about that? And I'll say we have Jalen Ramsey, my favorite player of all time.
Not wrong with that either.
That's true.
Love him.
Besides the fact that he said, what did he say in the interview? They asked him about Marone's job. He said, I don't care about anybody but myself.
Yeah.
Hey, I've dogged him all year, but it was obvious that's not what he meant.
Not even close.
It was obvious that wasn't what he meant.
I'm very glad you said that.
I think he's a distraction in the locker room, and I hate him.
To me, that was
I think he
what he was saying there was, look, I'm just keeping my head down, minding my own business.
Exactly. I can't control that. That's completely out of my control.
Yeah, but okay, not to get off on the thing here, but you've put yourself out there as like the GQ guy and as the guy who does commentary on every player in the league, and now you're going to talk in this like lazy, cryptic way. Like, come on, man. Like, you've already made yourself the mouthpiece of this team. You can't back out now and start being the guy that says these vague sentences.
I think it was an awkward position to be put in. He's commented on his head coach's job status. So I think he just didn't want to answer the question, and so he just said that. I mean, but he's a polarizing figure. He's always going to be. I love him, and I'm happy he's on our team. But to really answer his question, I'll say I'm happy that I don't have to stay up for 3 hours in the next draft. We're gonna be picking. I can go to bed before 9 o'clock, and I do love drafting. When the draft rolls around, I don't like what gets you to that point, but it's fun being at the top of the draft. So, and also, there's no way that next season we can be as hurt as we were this year with injuries.
It'd be hard to be. Yeah,
It's going to be hard.
I think he jinxed us when he was like, "We're due for an injury year." So yeah,
I'll take that blame. It was a concern.
Thanks a lot, Joey.
We were very lucky last year with that.
You should have to watch every game from the dog park next season because of that.
Ooh, man, don't put that on anybody.
Yeah, that thing better go away.
And Pet Paradise.
Surely they realized that's the real problem this year was
Yeah.
the dog park, and they fixed that. I know Con's listening. Come on, buddy. How much money can Pet Paradise really be
Yeah,
kicking
you're
in?
making $200 million next year. You can get rid of that
Yeah, that's
one
nothing.
sponsor.
Hey, you didn't get to be a billionaire from
That's true.
worrying about what we think.
Probably doesn't even like dogs.
He's a cat guy.
Yeah. He's like a lemur.
Spider monkey.
Yeah. All right.
Any other questions?
I mean, that's 56 minutes. That's probably
Okay.
unless there's anything else you want to talk about. That's all the questions.
No, but keep sending us questions about the draft because that and free agency is all we have to talk about until
For a while.
For a while. Let me get real quick. Dolphins Jags this Saturday, not Sunday.
Oh, that's right. There's games on Saturdays now.
Yes, there are.
Completely threw me
Oh.
off this past weekend.
Yep.
Oof. I mean, Miami's not playing bad at all.
No.
I mean, I think they stomp us. I mean, there's no way we win, right?
No, not a chance.
No way possible.
and I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would take a marathon of a prediction to say the Jags were going to win.
That's right.
But nope, not this week.
Here's my question though: do we keep it close
No,
and lose?
no. I think it's over before it gets started.
Yeah.
Remember, they're going to South Beach. The season's
yes. The question should be: where do they go and where do they get busted at the night before?
over. Or can they walk in a straight line when the game starts?
Who gets arrested? That's a more fun question.
And I think once the playoffs start, we'll be commenting on the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit more than just Jags, but really the focus is going to be the offseason. It's here with 2 weeks left in the regular season, not where any of us thought the Jags would be. But it is what it is. And so we will end this episode, like every episode, by saying, Go Jags.